Hi, at-home learners. Miss Crenshaw here. I just wanted to help you out with this Kool-Aid practice because it's a really good one, and just wanted to give you a little lesson that you are missing in class today. So if you are not able to print out this sheet, that's okay. Just have a plain piece of paper and you can kind of work through the problems with me. All right, so we've got two recipes of Kool-Aid. And the first thing I did was I colored each recipe and showed red for how many parts concentrate, which is the cherry flavor, and how many parts water is my blue. So I'm just going to quickly get this missing part water in here. All right, so we've got three different strategies to help us solve this concentration problem. So concentration is just how strong something is. If it's a mixture like chocolate milk or lemonade or Kool-Aid, it's which one has that stronger flavor. And there's a lot of strategies you can use to do it. So let's look at a few of them. First would be percent. If I could figure out what percent both mixtures are, of cherry, then the one that is a higher percent of cherry is going to be my stronger liquid, right? So if you look at the totals, so the total is going to be the top of these mixtures. And we could kind of estimate, right? So of this total mixture right here, this would be about half, right? So that'd be 50%. So I can tell it's less than half, but it's more than a third. So my prediction would be maybe about 40%, right? And here, half would be about here. Half is 50%. So again, that's a little less. So I don't know. It looks like maybe 45%, but I'm really totally guessing here. So let's go ahead and figure that out for sure. So we need to review, how do we find percent? Remember, percent is a part to whole ratio. So I can write it as a fraction first. So if I look at hers, she has 3-part cherry, but remember, it's not going to be cherry to water. To figure out percent, we're going to do cherry to total. So she has 3 parts cherry and 5 parts water. So if I add those two together, 3 out of 8 parts are cherry, right? 3 plus 5 gives us the 8 parts total. So then remember that this fraction bar means to divide. So one way that we can change this into a percent is we're going to just change it to a decimal, and then times 100 is going to be our percent. So we'll do this more next unit, convert between fractions, decimals, percent. But just a quick lesson on that. We're going to do 3 divided by 8 and then times 100. So if you have a calculator, go ahead and give that a try. You can always use the calculator that is on your Chromebook as well. So 3 divided by 8 gives me 0.375. Now remember, I only really care about these first two, so let's just leave it there. And then times 100 is what's going to change that to a percent. And that's going to give me 37%. All right, so I was close. The exact percent is 37. I estimated about 40. So let's go ahead and put that here. So Nanette's is 37% cherry. And that makes sense according to our picture. All right, so this one over here, again, if half is 50%, look like about 45, but let's find out for sure. So let's make her ratio of cherry to total. So she had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parts cherry. So this was cherry, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 parts water. But remember, we want the total. So 7 out of 16 parts of her liquid are cherry. So let's change that to a percent. All right, so I'm just going to do 7 divided by 16 on my calculator. And I get 0.4375. Let's just worry about those first 2 digits. That's usually all we care about. So about 0.43 times 100, and that's going to give us 43%. So again, my estimate was pretty good. It was a little less than my estimate, but I was close. All right, so if Rachel's is 43% cherry, and Annette's is 37%, Rachel's is a higher percent cherry, so that's going to have a stronger cherry taste, isn't it? All right, so that's one strategy, but just make sure if you use that strategy that you really do that part to whole. All right, our next strategy, we could use what we used in Target 3, unit rate. So if unit rate, remember, is us figuring out how much cherry for just 1 cup of water. So let's do that for both. So now we are going to use that part-to-part ratio, right? Cherry to water. So Nanette's was 3 parts cherry, 5 parts water. And Rachel's was 7 to 9. All right, so all we have to do now is just make those ratios equivalent to where 1 is the denominator. So remember what we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. Whatever we do the bottom, do the top. So I'm going to divide 5 divided by 5 is 1. And so then 3 divided by 5. And please use a calculator. You're going to get 6/10 or 0.6, okay? Over here, we're just going to do 9 divided by 9 equals 1. And then 7 divided by 9. I do need to use my calculator for that one. And that's 0.7 repeating. So if we do 0.7, that's going to be close enough. All right, so this is actually a very easy strategy. I would highly recommend this one. And then you can see really clearly that 7/10 is going to be larger than 6/10. So again, we still get that same answer. Rachel's is stronger because she has more cherry when they both have 1 cup of water. All right, last strategy is really similar to the unit rate, except if we don't want to divide and have decimals, we might use this one instead. So this is still just, remember that we can compare easier if they have the same amount of cherry or if they have the same amount of water. So let's figure out how many parts cherry each mix would have if they both had 45 parts of water. Now the reason I picked 45, you will see really quickly here. So let's just copy these part-to-part ratios from number 2, right? So remember we had cherry to water. For Nanette was 3 to 5, and for Rachel was 7 to 9. So I'm just copying what I already had. Okay, so the reason I'm picking 45 parts water is I want to have a common denominator, right? A common amount of water. So I'm going to think, what's the least common multiple of 5 and 9? And that's going to be 45. What's nice about this strategy is we don't have to divide, we don't have to deal with decimals. So I'm guessing a lot of you would actually find this to be your easier way to go. So we're going to do what we've done before, just create those equivalent ratios. We're just going to do it for 2 mixtures instead of just 1, and then we're going to compare. All right, so I just have to think. 5 times 9 is 45. So remember, do the same thing at the top. 3 times 9 is 27. 9 times 5 is 45. So 7 times 5 is 35. Now it makes sense if they have the same amount of water. Whichever one has more cherry is obviously going to be the one that has a stronger cherry flavor. So Nanette's has 27 parts cherry or concentrate with 45 parts water, and Rachel's has 35. So once again, we are able to prove that Rachel's is going to be stronger. So we've proved that all 3 ways. All right, go ahead and pause the video, rewind the video. Make sure you understand those 3 strategies. That's going to help you with your practice today. Good luck.